Holy crap! Yo! Hey guys, and welcome back to New Earth Alchemy, where we are doing some things to make our life a little bit better, a little bit easier for everybody involved.
Think of the children.
I learned how to do sounds, so... Today, I want to talk about delusional optimism and how I think that you should adopt this mindset, because I have adopted this mindset. And if everything that we talk about is true and correct, you create your own reality and you make your own belief systems, which then, you get to choose whatever you want to believe, which then radiates out from you in your words, in your actions, in your vibrations and energy to then bring back, attract, manifest that which you are saying, speaking, doing, believing, then delusional optimism is the best thing that we could adopt. I'm always talking about how stress levels are the number one thing that we can work on and work towards so as to get what we want and manifest our dreams and desires and yada yada. Delusional optimism is a great tool and next step to work towards on doing all of these things, okay? Just assume everything's going to be fine, everything's a-okay until proven otherwise. Because, we spend, I forget the exact statistic number or whatever, but the vast majority of our time is spent in living either in the past or in the present, okay? So we're always either reliving, re-experiencing the past, which, our body doesn't know the difference. Our mind creates our reality and our body follows suit. Our body wants us to be correct. Therefore, it acts as though anything we say, do, speak, believe is happening right now, here, in this moment. And it's not, right? So when you're reliving these past experiences, your body is creating all of the same chemicals and reinforcing all of those energy blocks that, trauma that is held in our body. We're just making those stronger. And then when we're living in the future, most of the time we're worrying. Most of the time we're thinking about how things aren't what we want them to be yet, and how we don't have what we want yet, and how we aren't where we want to be yet. And we're worrying about the things that may happen, may not happen, could happen. Oh my gosh, what if someone gets sick? What if I lose the one I love? What if? Now, not only is this destroying our peace right now in this moment, because right now in this moment is the only thing we actually have, but we're creating the stress, the chemicals in our body, we're creating more energy blocks, more glued, sticky, yucky belief systems around what could happen. It's in the wrong direction, right? But if manifesting is really a thing and the law of attraction is legitimate, then we're actually bringing these things closer to our reality, right? We don't want to hop into that timeline. That's why we're worried. We're worried we may fall into that timeline. But in the worrying of falling into that timeline, we may actually be bringing it closer to us. So, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We believed it, and therefore it happened only because we believed it. We are our own worst enemies. So, enter delusional optimism. We have to speak it into existence, right? We have to focus on what we want. And this means being a little bit delusional sometimes. If that's okay. It's totally okay to be a delusional optimist. Just assume everything's going to work out in your best favor, right? And then release control, release attachment, and allow things to play out and unfold how they will. We can't control it. We can't control everything. We can't pretend that we can control everything. We can't really control anything other than how we are in this moment to the best of our abilities. Not that we're going to not ever be triggered again, because I had an episode yesterday, but we're not going to get into it. The funny thing about being human is that we always have these emotions that we're going to be carrying around with us. And we always have our past that we're going to be carrying around with us. And all we can do is our best in every moment to work on healing all of that so that we can show up with delusional optimism in the moment, okay? We're not worried about anything going on outside of the moment, in any moment, to the best of our abilities. Remember, happy people aren't created because their life is full of rainbows and sunshine all the time, okay? We're all in a shit show, everybody on this planet. Nobody escapes that, okay? Nobody escapes the shit show. We have something going on, and nothing's perfect every way around. Happy people are those who choose to be happy despite the shit show. And I'm not talking about toxic positivity, okay? If you're not familiar, toxic positivity is where you're refusing to acknowledge anything going on that's not happy and rainbows and sunshine unicorns, and you're just like you're not processing anything. You're just shoving it down, putting it to the back, pushing it to the side. You're not dealing with anything. You're ignoring the things that you don't like. We're not talking about doing that, okay? That's not what delusional happiness or delusional optimism is. Instead, what I mean is, and I'm going to use a story to explain this. So somebody in my life has cancer. True story. And it's not a very aggressive type of cancer, okay? And we're very lucky that it's this cancer if it had to be any kind of cancer. So they just have to go back to the doctor and have their blood work done every 6 months, 3 months, something like that, to just check and see where their levels are. And if anything shows up that it's getting worse, then more steps will be taken. But for right now, everything's been fine so far, and we're just going back every so often and checking the numbers, okay? So, leading up to about a month in advance, leading up to the most recent appointment, they were like, man, because we've already got cancer, right? We've already got cancer. So there's that we have to work with. We're already dealing with that. We're already dealing with our shit show. Yes, this is our shit show in this specific moment. So for a month leading up to this appointment, they were telling everybody that they just had a bad feeling about this one. They just had a bad feeling about this one. They had a feeling that their numbers were going to come back, and then this was the end, and this was that, and it was just going to be bad. It was going to be bad. So all of these people that they were telling this to were then telling each other, oh, it's going to be bad. They said that they got a bad feeling. It's just going to be bad. And now we're all depressed, and now we're all anxious and worried, and we're like, oh man, their intuition, I bet they know. I bet that's true. It's going to be bad. So we were all stressed out for a whole month leading up to this appointment, just for the appointment to go fine and the numbers to look better than they ever have. Okay? So, what did we accomplish with the pessimism? Nothing. And we're honestly super lucky that we didn't collectively manifest the bad numbers, honestly. And I may have been sending some crazy amounts of Reiki in that direction, because I was like, no. And I kept telling them, no, stop that. We don't know. We don't know. We can't predict the future, you guys. There's no way. Maybe some people can. Most of us can't. We probably can't. I can't. I can't predict the future. Can you? We don't know. We're just speculating. And sometimes we can let our minds get away from us. And it's not our intuition that's coming through. It's our anxiety. It's the worst case scenario. So what have we accomplished by diving, falling, delving into this deep, dark, oh no, it's going to be bad, I just know it? Nothing. We're accomplishing nothing. We're ruining our present moment, our present happiness. We're making everything worse. We're making everyone around us scared and anxious. It's not positive. There's nothing that can come out of this. So why not instead, recognize what you can and cannot know. And if you cannot know it, you just choose to be delusionally optimistic. There's no reason they couldn't have just spent that whole month, instead of being like, oh no, doom, gloom. Instead, they're going to be like, it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. It's probably fine. Why wouldn't it be fine? I have no reason to believe it's not fine. I'm sure it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be, oh, if it's not okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, I refuse to ruin the peace I have in this moment. I refuse to fall into that, that the shit show's already here. Let's not make it worse than it already is. Because it's already bad, right? Why do we want to add on to that? Why do we want to tack on more energy, more momentum to that badness, that yuckiness, that heaviness? Why not choose to make things lighter? Now, for sure, all of that was coming from fear, right? And the emotions, the heavy emotions, the big emotions that were surrounding all of that. Fear of the future, fear of if they are bad, then what? And most of us don't know how to process that. We don't know that we're supposed to process and transmute that. We're supposed to take those thoughts, those beliefs, those worries, those fears, and process them, transmute them into something different. This is not sweeping them under the table. This is looking at them head on and being like, I see you. Are we fixing a fight? Are we fixing to go into battle? I think I'd win. And if you win, I'm going to put up a damn good fight. Always equate things like this, like shadow work and emotional processing, to anime. I watch a lot of anime. And if you don't really watch anime or know anything about it, and you're like, those are those Japanese cartoons, right? Sorta. But mostly it's people fighting, okay? It's like battles. There's just people training and fighting. And that's basically what anime is, with like different storylines. And so every time I'm processing emotions or transmuting these worries, these fears, these belief systems, all of that, I imagine myself going into battle against them. They call them our demons, right? We have to fight our demons. We have to face our demons. Or they're just going to keep chasing us. They're just going to keep hanging out in the shadows, bothering us, dragging us back, poking at us, making us emotional, doing all of these things, sabotaging our current life, our happiness, our peace, all of the things, until we turn around and face them. Like, hey, you will not defeat me. I've been training. I've been meditating. I've been practicing my affirmations. I've been practicing my delusional optimism, and I think I can beat you. Then you just go in there and give it your all. Okay? And like, is it going to kill you? Probably not. You're going to win most of your battles. Most of your opponents are super weak. They just look scary. And we're all going to be defeated at some point, right? So we have to remember that, there is going to be a battle we lose eventually. Nobody's immortal. We're all going to die. Not to be like doom and gloom furthermore. But, delusional optimism until we die. We're here until we're not. And while we're here, there's plenty enough negativity and ness without us adding to it with our imagination, right? We don't have to do that. Help us in any way. It doesn't make us stronger. It doesn't ward off anything that may come. Now, is it good to be prepared? Absolutely. It sure is good to be prepared. And that's where these thoughts come in usefully. You're like, oh, thank you, brain. I didn't think about that. I will consider that. And if I need to make any preparations for that, I will do so. And then you just let it be. You're like, okay, so that's a thing that's a possibility, but I'm not going to focus on it. I'm not going to let it grow momentum. I'm not going to feed it any of my energy. I'm going to choose delusional optimism until I have no other choice, whilst still preparing if I need to prepare. We're not saying just go out and laze about and willy-nilly your life away. Like, that's not responsible. We're just saying that you don't have to be like, oh no, anxiety, worry, doom and gloom, tell them all the things that could go wrong. Because that's honestly a really poor use of your time, For example, like an anime, they know that they're going into battle and that one day one of these battles may kill them. But they're not worried about it and they're not sitting around crying about it. I mean, Zenitsu is for a while, but we're not going to get into that. They're training, they're working on getting better, getting stronger, so that they can enjoy what they have for as long as they have, so that they can win as many battles as they can. Because again, no one's life is easy, and happy people aren't happy because good things happen to them. Happy people are happy despite all of the bad things going on, because we have enough of that. We have to choose to be the joy, the happy, the peace, the love, the compassion, all of the things that we want in this world. We have to use the energy that we have to radiate that out into the world for ourselves, for others, because the doom and the gloom, that's so easy to come by. Okay? That's cheap. That is so cheap. That's absolutely free, just over brimming around everywhere you look. What's hard to come by is the light, the happiness, and it's really not hard to come by once you figure out how to manifest it in in the moment, in the now. Learning how to cultivate that in your life as often as possible, wherever and whenever you can, through self-care. And, we covered in the full moon ritual post, this most recent full moon, how to do self-care properly. And it's not all bubble baths and manicures and massages. It's like doing this work. It's doing this work. Programming your mind, unprogramming it from past things, reformulating your subconscious so that you can act automatically towards the light rather than automatically towards the darkness, because that's what most people land on, right? The vast majority of us work automatically towards the heavy, the dense, the problems, all of the things that have caused us issues in life. And very few of us are born into just the happy-go-lucky mindsets, all right? That's not how evolution's really worked for us. We need the people who worry are the people who survived. So congratulations, you're a survivor. It's kept you alive. It's kept your lineage alive for thousands of years. But we don't really necessarily need that in our makeup at the moment. All right, we might need it later. Again, we might. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? We don't. But right now, if everything's fine, just allow everything to be fine. If it's only fine for 10 minutes, then at least you had that 10 minutes. And then we can be thankful and practice our gratitude and remember those 10 minutes and how wonderful they are while we're experiencing, it's what's the word? Disassociation. Practice your disassociation when all of the bad is happening. That's why we have that power, so that we can kind of like protect ourselves and our minds when things get really hard and really rough. Not suppressing it, not avoiding it, but in the moment. For example, like if you're having dental work done, it's totally okay to disassociate while you're having the dental work done, right? Nobody likes that. Nobody's into that. That's not fun. We don't want to be there. And that's where those visualization and the disassociation comes in beautifully up to bat, okay? There's a time and a place for everything. We can't label anything as good or bad. Everything has its use, its purpose somewhere, right? Even mosquitoes have a purpose in the ecosystem, I suppose. Like they're food for stuff. We want to not villainize things or tools or people or anything if we can help it. And we don't want to victimize anything either, ourselves included. We're not victims. We just are, we just exist in the middle until we choose which side we're on. And you can choose at any point in time to be the delusional optimist who's just smiles and brings joy to those around them, and tries their best to do their best despite the shit show, you know? And if you can master that, everything else will start to fall in place too. Because that 10 minutes that you demanded, you were happy in that 10 minutes because you were in the present moment and you're like, okay, I know I'm worried about that over there, and I know I'm thinking about what happened over there, but if I can just crowd out all of those thoughts in this present moment so that I can just relax and enjoy myself and just exist with no judgments, no expectations, no worries, no nothing like that, for just 10 minutes, then I'll be thankful and I'll be okay. And you crowd those out with the thoughts, with the meditation, right? Focusing on what you hear, see, smell, taste, notice, everything that there is, all the sensations within your body, externally, internally, the colors, the textures, the just everything that you can find in this present moment to focus on will crowd out those things that you don't want, and then you just replace them with the things that you do want. Find some affirmations, choose delusional optimism, and then you'll notice that 10 minutes is now easily 15, now easily 20. Oh my gosh, it's growing. These moments are getting bigger. Now I can hold on to this for a couple of hours at a time. Oh my gosh, now that one thing that would have ruined my whole day is now a non-issue. I'm irritated about it for an hour and then I'm good for the rest of the day. That thing that used to would have destroyed me for an entire week, now I'm holding on to this happiness for a couple of days at a time. And now those things that used to bother me aren't bothering me anymore. And then things slowly start to fall into place because you're feeding that side of things. You're giving momentum and energy to this side of things and allowing it to grow. And you're feeling lighter and you're feeling more joyful. And your neck doesn't hurt anymore because your stress levels have diminished and gone down, and your hips aren't bothering you, and your back doesn't hurt because you're not carrying around all this extra emotional weight anymore. And you're like, wow, okay, this is a lot better. This is what I've been looking for this whole time. Who knew? It's so easy. It just takes intention and focus and the thought. Honestly, the hardest part about doing any of this stuff is trying to remember to be that way all of the time. And you're not going to, okay? You're going to slip and you're going to forget to do these things for sometimes really long periods of time, just to finally come back around it and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot this simple tool that could have fixed this issue right here a month ago. But that's okay. We're human. It's hard. It's hard to get past our subconscious programming, okay? But once you get past that buffer area, when you're trying to stop your train from going in one direction and flip it around, and like think of a train on tracks, okay? And it's going in one direction indefinitely, and that direction is doom and gloom, anxiety, stress. And you want to flip it in the other direction on the track, which is happiness, peace, and ease and flow, but your train is facing one direction already, and it's been going really fast in that direction your whole life. So you have to not only slow down the train enough to stop it, which is a lot of work, a lot of energy, right? But then you have to turn around the entire train. Do you know how much those things weigh? That is insane. We're probably going to need some heavy-duty equipment around here. But once we finally get that train turned around, it's going to start off slow, right? It's going to start moving slow because, again, trains are heavy. They have to build that momentum. They have to get going. But eventually, they're going to be nearly unstoppable. It's going to take a whole lot to stop them. It's the same thing. Once you do the work, it's going to be difficult in the beginning, but once you get that momentum going and you've programmed the subconscious to just automatically do it, and then you're doing it what you want more, and the old patterns less, things start to just unfold. And then it's a breath of fresh air, and you can be proud of yourself, and you can be so thankful that you got started early. When you got started when you did. Got started now. If you're not already doing it, do it now. Because what do they say? The best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago, but the next best time to plant a tree is right now. Yeah, get started. Just go ahead and get started. Too many of us, most of us, allow ourselves to be held back by the fact that we're frozen at the thought of how big the job is in front of us. And we're like, man, that's going to take forever. Wow, that's a lot of work. And we just stand still because we don't want to get started because, oh my gosh, that's going to take so long to do. But I mean, like, we're here until we're not, right? We're here for the rest of our lives, right? We're going to get there regardless. So the sooner you start moving in the direction you want to be in, the sooner you're going to get there. Because you're going to get to 30 years from now, 5 years from now, however long, many years from now that we have, you're going to get there regardless. And you can start the work today and the future can be easier and better, or you can stay where you are and it'll probably be pretty well the same when you get there. Either way, you're going to get there. So anyway, I feel like that's good. That's a good food for thought Tuesday episode. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I can help. I do mentoring and whatnot. Reach out to me. Whatever you need, I'm here. Don't have to do it alone. And until next week, I love you so much. You're doing a great job. Namaste.